In this episode, I talked to Audrey Kwan. She is the founder of Agency Together, and we get into really the nitty gritty on how you can connect with people as an introvert, whether you're looking for your business bestie, whether you are going to events and you're just like, I'm tired and I don't want to chat with people. This episode will give you the goods to get you to the next level. So I'm excited for you to hear. Let me know what you think. Till next time. Welcome to the Real Connect podcast. I'm your host, Tamika Carlton. I am super excited to have my next guest, Audrey Kwan. I just was like, this is perfect because you're the perfect guest for what you do and everything aligned accordingly. So please tell the people, Audrey, who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is Audrey Joy Kwan. I usually go by Audrey Kwan, and I help agency owners, number one, get out of client delivery, and number two, become go-to experts. And I do that in a few ways. I coach and consult, but I also have a community and network of agency owners. And I think it's the network, which is called Agency Together, where Tamika, you and I
Yes.
connected because we definitely share a value system that's very similar. And
Yes.
it is at the end all about collaboration and connection over competition.
Okay. Okay. So, yes, correct. I love your mission. And as you said, we connected because of Agency Together and because someone that is enrolled in Agency Together recommended me, which ultimately truly aligns with what the real connect is, right? But you said competition. Like, where did that come from? Because I feel like you mentioned this before when we first connected. Like, what was it? What's your why behind Agency Together?
Yeah, I've been part of the agency world for a really long time. When I say really long time, literally like two decades. I look young, but really I'm not that young.
Very
It's been
young.
2 decades. I know, but I'm not going to share my age. But yes, I've been part of the world for over 2 decades. And in 2024, I was having conversations with agency owners. Mind you, I have a lot of conversations with agency owners,
Mhm.
but I think 2024 was a very unique year. And I think there was a lot of adjustments in marketing being
Mhm.
made. And I started to bump up against conversations of people feeling like if I want a client, then someone will lose a client, or or if someone else want a client, I will lose a client. And
Mm.
it felt very what I call dog eat dog.
Mm.
So a dog eat dog type of world where if one wins, the other loses. And if
Right.
anyone knows me, they know that I'm not about that life. I
Right.
am about collaborative winning and collaborative gains. And I believe that we can win by giving. And I've seen
Yes.
people win by giving. I've
Yes.
seen it in my business, I've seen it in my life. And so I thought, okay, there's got to be something out there that really helps agencies collaborate, connect, and share referrals.
Mhm.
In my mind, I thought for sure there's something out there. And I went looking and I didn't see it. I didn't see anything out
Which is
there.
wild.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing for agency owners
Yeah.
for agency to agency collaborations. It blew my mind. And I thought, maybe people don't want this, or maybe they do.
Mhm.
Let's side with maybe they do.
Right.
And so I put together, yeah, I put together like a Google, literally, it was a Google document, like a page. And I invited my network, my
Mm.
closest network, to participate. I said, hey, this is what I'm finding. This is the thing I want to create, want to help agency owners connect, collaborate, and get
Mhm.
referrals.
Mhm.
Do you want to come on this journey with
Mhm.
me? And yeah, it didn't take long. It took 30 days before I had 10 people
That's
raise up their
amazing.
hands and say yes.
Yes.
Right. And that's how Agency Together started.
Well, and I think I love that because I think the big thing for me is that, the dog eat dog world is null and void because the reality is there's enough for all of us. And
Mhm.
not to mention you work with a variety of different agencies, right? So typically we are all targeting different audiences. And
Yeah.
not to mention every person or entrepreneur or agency attracts a different type of person naturally, right? And I
Mhm.
think that that's so important to just speak on. But I love that number one, you said you had a network to even
Mhm.
connect with.
Mhm.
And I just want to hear, and you've been in the industry for a long time. How have you built and maintained this network to even be able to reach out with something that's new, right?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
When I look at my network, I really think of my network as my community.
Mm,
So the word network has all these connotations in
yes.
it, and I really just see it as my community. And these are the people that have either come into my world and have supported me in some way, and I've kept that relationship going.
Mhm.
And when I say keep that relationship
Yes, please
going, it means
elaborate.
yeah, it means checking in, right?
Yes.
So I've checked in on I've and checking in is yes, sometimes it's an email,
Yes.
sometimes it's just hopping onto social media and
Mhm,
saying, "Oh my gosh, I see what you're doing. I'm
mhm,
all for it. It's cool."
mhm,
Right? Just
mhm,
being genuine,
mhm.
just checking
Yes.
in. Something very simple. And that's one way I've, kept in contact with my community. Another way is, look, I have, crossed I do have time on my side, meaning that I have been in the industry for
Mhm,
20 years and I have built up a portfolio of previous clients. And so
mm,
I've kept in contact with them. Even though our time together may have finished through consulting or coaching, it doesn't
sure.
mean our time ends. Right.
Right.
So I've followed up with them. I've watched what they're doing. Sometimes I've even reached out and said, "Hey, I'm in the same city. Let's go out and have a
Yes.
coffee." Something simple like that has really helped me maintain my community. And so I think really it's just been me being conscious of creating touch points
Mhm,
that bring me joy, right? Again, touch
mhm.
points have to bring you joy, or
Yes,
in my
please.
case, me joy. Like
Yes.
I don't mind hopping onto social media and following people that I love and looking at what they're doing and speaking into it. And that's quite opposite from, me posting reels every day because that's not my life, right? But
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think there's a different way you can use social media, and I definitely use it to that advantage, but more
Sure.
so, I'm a big like, I understand the way that I like to connect. I think everyone likes to connect in different ways.
Mhm.
And if you look at my strength profile, one of my
Yes.
top strengths is called relator. And
Okay.
so as a relator, I really love like one-to-one conversations
Mhm,
and
mhm,
catch-ups and like deeply
mhm,
hearing what's
mhm,
happening with someone. And I've really tapped into that strength because I love hitting up someone for a coffee or even doing an
mhm.
online virtual chat and getting into it. And when I say getting into it, you and I, when we connected, it wasn't just how was the weather type of
Right. Thank
conversation,
you.
right?
Yes.
It was a lot deeper than that. It was really plugging into, hey, like what lights you up? What's going
Yes.
on? What's hard for you?
Yes.
And I know that it can take time to dive into conversations like that, but I also think that because of my strength, I'm very good at getting right to the good stuff. And
Mhm.
that's really helped me build strong connections that have lasted for, years.
Yeah, and I think that gosh, you kept saying that you did simple things, and I feel like they are very simple, but they also go a long way. Like reaching out to people, whether it be on social media, via email, like people actually respect and enjoy those connections and touch points if you're not just checking in to gain something from them, right? Yeah, you're
That's a keyword.
yes,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
And
keyword.
and I think that so often we get so busy and we're invested in what we're doing, we forget that, like, a lot of times people do feel forgotten and undervalued for whatever they're doing. And if you can just say a simple hello or like what's going on, or I saw what you have, updated on social media and I love it, that goes a long way.
Yeah, I you know, you and I are both business owners, and I
Correct.
think a lot of people can watch a business owner or see a business owner and think that they have it all together,
No,
right?
yeah.
And 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 then they hesitate to reach out
Mhm.
and connect because they think, "Hey, this person has it all together. What value do I have to
Mm,
provide?" And I gotta say this, sometimes when us entrepreneurs are out there in the world doing things, we're just as uncertain as everybody else. And
Absolutely.
having someone reach out and say, "I see what you're doing. I think this is really cool." That
Yes.
really goes a long way, right?
Mhm,
And I say small,
mhm.
and we all know, like, small and simple isn't always easy. Those are
Yes.
two different things. So, I don't discount that when I say small and simple. They're not always easy because I think there is a habit that forms when you reach out to people, and it's that habit that you keep consistent, and that's really how I've maintained my relationships.
Yeah, and it sounds like your relationships have become reciprocal, right? People are like, "Oh, Audrey is actually now she's asking for something, and I would love to be a part of it." So, tell me more about Agency Together because I know you bring folks in this space virtually, right? And they have an opportunity to connect with individuals that are in agencies. What does that look like from a networking perspective? Why was it important for you? You mentioned referrals for folks to give one another referrals. Why did you do that?
Yeah, you know, there is a whole bunch of things happening that were happening in 2024 that continue to happen in 2025 and beyond. And I think in the industry that I work in, which is working with small agency owners,
Mm,
I really saw that the way forward for small agencies was coming together,
mhm,
coming together to connect and collaborate. And that looks different, right? And when I say it looks different, there is sharing referrals, but there's also sharing knowledge, right? And I
yes.
felt like there's always a space for that, sharing referrals and sharing knowledge. And Agency Together is built on this idea that agencies can come together without stepping on each other's toes. I think
Hmm.
that's the biggest challenge in the agency space. Agencies often feel like, hey, if there's like five digital marketers in a room, we're all
Yeah.
vying for that same business,
Yeah.
right? And part of that is very true, right? If you're
Hmm.
if you're all generalists in the same room,
Hmm.
of course you're vying for the same business, but also just seeing what's coming down the pipeline for agencies. Now, the generalist is for the most part, I think AI is gonna play a big part of being a generalist
Hmm.
in all things marketing. And so we're really moving towards what I call a specialist economy.
Mm.
People who specialize in things, have deep knowledge and
Yes.
understanding, and can get in front of things,
The
right?
correct
And
people.
so yeah, and so with that understanding of where our market is going, which is towards the niche
Yes.
agency, I really want to help agencies also tap into their niche and build a strong footprint.
Mhm.
And so Agency Together is very much about that. It's about having agencies come together, identifying a niche that they really want to grow, and then pulling them into what I call a cohort,
Mhm.
right? So a cohort is like between 5 to about 8 agency owners who come together. They could have a different service and or industry niche, and because they have different service and or industry niches, they can really collaborate to
Mhm.
grow together, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's sharing strategic connections or referrals. Now that's one element of Agency Together. It's creating that opportunity for everyone. The other opportunity is this. I think that in the world of agencies, it often feels like people just want to pull the blinds down and not show what's happening, truly happening behind the
Behind the
scenes,
scenes.
or there's a lot of gurus out there that are saying this is the way it
Yeah.
worked. And I think a lot of those gurus are talking from a space of, having exited their business or having
Yes.
actually owned an agency for, like, 10 years, right?
Right.
And 5
It's
years.
not as
And then
relatable to someone that's a
it's
small
not
business. Yeah.
100.
Mhm.
Not to discount their experience.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
discounting
Yeah.
their experience. The reality is, though, what's happening today and running agency data today is very different than what it looked 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And what better way to learn than to bring agencies in who share the same values of connection, collaboration, and also transparency, right?
Yes.
So we've got agencies who are more than open to pull up the blinds and say,
Mhm.
"Oh, what do you want to talk about today? You want to talk about the RFP that we put together that won a multiple six-figure project by bringing together 5 agencies? Let's do a knowledge sharing session," right?
Yeah, it's
Those
like
are
they're
the things
sharing the
are just
real deal, like the things that actually matter that are going to help us all get to the next level. Like that's what we need. And I
Right.
think that just to tackle that for a second. I think that there's so much value in understanding that sharing your knowledge is not giving it away, and like you're not relinquishing something that you're supposed to hold dear. Like sharing is going to elevate you and the other people that are receiving your knowledge. And a lot of times we all want to hold on to things and we think that, what we know we got from ample years of experience, but like let's grow together. Like
Mhm.
let's elevate together. There's so much, it's so essential for us, and I love agency together for that.
Yeah. You hit on such a strong point that connection is often about knowledge sharing. Right?
Yes.
When we come together in a group, whether it's a friend group or a business group, how you build relationships is by sharing your knowledge,
Mhm.
right? And I think that part of gating it is fear. I think people gate
Yes.
their knowledge because they're afraid. They're afraid
Mhm.
that if they give something away, then basically they're at a disadvantage, right?
Correct.
But
Mhm.
they're at
Speak on it, Audrey. Speak on it.
But here's the thing, when you give something away, there often comes something back, which is called
Yes.
feedback, right?
Yes.
And let me tell you,
Correct.
right? Like, agency together is a great example. Like, to grow agency together, I got a lot of feedback on
Mhm.
it. And
Mhm.
the reality is there are other communities out there doing different things,
Mhm.
right? And me sharing about how agency together works right now, why it works,
Mhm.
what makes it
Mhm.
work,
Mhm.
isn't me giving away all the goods about it with other
Yeah.
community builders. No, it's actually putting it out there and getting feedback. And
Yes.
sure, I see communities out there that look like they're doing similar things, but I know at the heart of it, it's very different, right?
Yes.
And here's the other thing, as a community champion, I know that the community that I run has my values in it and
Yes.
has an part of my energy in
It's
it, and my
unique.
values 100, and my
Yes.
values and my
She said
energy cannot be
100.
duplicated.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. And I think we need to have this worthy conversation with ourselves with like, we are different for a reason. We target different people for a reason. And also, as you said, sharing knowledge is allowing yourself to receive feedback, and feedback is only going to allow you to improve if
Mhm.
you're willing to
Yeah.
receive it. That's the key.
If you're Yeah,
Yeah.
willing to receive is such a good comment. Yeah, I think yeah. There's something that's called like being really precious about your idea. So being really
Mhm,
precious, like
mhm.
you put this idea
I've
out
been there.
there and yeah, and it's like you don't want someone to disrupt it, right? It's
Yes.
very precious to
So
you.
true.
And so when someone says something to you like, "Oh, but that means it's not a great idea and the
No.
whole thing's just not gonna work." And I think that's being really too precious about it. I think the reality is with any idea that you put out in the world, there's gonna be what I call a D1, D2, D3, D4, which is draft 1, draft 2, draft 3,
Yes,
draft 4, right?
please.
And
We needs
and
the drafts.
when you're starting, you're at draft 1. Draft 1 is not the final destination,
No,
right? So
it's not meant to be the final destination, and
yeah.
I love that even the number of people in each cohort seems to be, very specific to you, like, you want to keep it more intimate, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that people crave real connection,
Mhm, yes.
and the larger you build out a cohort, the harder it is to have those real life
Mhm,
connections. Because where you actually build strategic partnerships, so strategic partnerships are people that you refer to over and over again.
mhm,
Strategic partnerships are built on getting to know someone well, right?
mhm,
When you know someone well, you're going to keep
like,
them
on a
in
deeper
your
level. Mhm,
yeah, on the deeper level and stay consistent with referring, stay consistent with connections.
mhm,
And the only way we do that is by keeping the cohort small enough. And within a period of time, we make sure that everyone really gets a chance to know each other.
mhm.
Right. And that's how we build those relationships.
And gets to
In
love
some
one
ways,
another almost, like, it's like, "This is my best friend. This is my new business bestie."
yeah, I love the word business bestie. I think that a lot of business owners crave having a
Yes,
business bestie because it's hard out there as a business owner. It is truly a roller coaster ride
truly.
as a business owner,
Yes,
truly. Yeah,
yes.
truly. And, having having business besties is how you get through it. And I think in the agency space, there isn't enough agency to agency
Mhm.
business besties. And I'm not saying that's what agency owner does is create business besties. What I'm saying though, it creates an opportunity for agencies that don't step on each other's toes to really be in an environment where they get to know each other that
Mhm.
maybe perhaps outside of agency together they may not have made time for,
Mhm.
right? But in agency together, not only do they make time for that, but they're also getting the referrals out of it, right? Because
Yes.
there is a referral element that comes into agency together that helps each agency grow.
Mhm.
So really at the heart of agency together is this element of number one, wanting to help agencies own their niche and get a stronger foothold in their niche.
Mhm.
Number two, build more trust in the people for the people that they serve because I think AI is also an element that disrupts trust
Yeah, for
in how to
sure.
do marketing and
Mhm.
sales. Yeah, and so helping people gain more personal relationships help people build more trust in their communities. That's the second element. And the
Yeah.
third element is really this idea of bringing agency owners together so they can actually connect and grow and feel like they aren't alone in this agency space
Yes.
and do it in a way where they can get referrals.
Yeah. And I think, you mentioned AI and just thinking about personal relationships and really the reason why the Real Connect podcast exists is because there's no replacing real connections with human beings. Like there's just no replacing that. And I these intimate spaces that someone like yourself is creating is providing this space where you have the opportunity to release, to be transparent, to kind of almost let your guard down, if you will, especially in a space with agencies or just in the business world where you feel like you have to be this person or this on person all the time. Sometimes you just need to be like, I struggled today and I didn't want to talk to nobody and I didn't make this much money as I wanted to this quarter, right? Like it's just like, how
Mhm.
do I reveal who I really am to get to the next level because someone else may be struggling too. And that's how you relate and connect. I have two questions for you. One is, um, what's your ultimate vision for, the agency connect and just, or excuse me, agency together? And I'm over here combining your company with my company.
It's
um,
all good.
what's your ultimate vision and like what do you foresee for you and for agency together?
Yeah. I foresee I you know let me just like, if I were to cast a vision that was 5 years down
Mhm.
the road, agency together isn't just the cohorts alone.
Mhm.
Agency together is a true community
Yes.
defined by knowledge sharing, which is the key one
Oh,
of
I
the
love
key
this.
elements that I would love. Yeah, and in agency together this year, what's really unique is we are diving deep into the knowledge sharing sessions. And the knowledge sharing sessions are not me as the facilitator host coming up with all the ideas and then telling people this is what they have to learn, right?
Right.
That's not the type of vision I have for agency together. And
Two
so
way.
the vision
Two
is
way conversation.
yeah, it's a
Mhm.
two-way conversation. So, for example, in order to figure out what the knowledge sharing sessions would look like for the next 6 months, I had deep conversations with each of the cohorts,
Mhm.
asking everyone in a one-to-one, a
Mhm.
one-to group conversation
Mhm.
inside the cohorts, hey, if you could unveil an agency and figure out or see or peek into something that you really wanted to and feel like you might not even be able to, what would that be, right? And it generated so many different
Oh,
ideas
I'm sure.
across the
Mhm.
cohorts, right? And so all those ideas are now going to be put together into a document with a rating system, and then it's going to be sent out to everyone in the community. We're about almost 30 some odd strong now, and
Mm.
so we're probably going to hit 40 across the next 2 months.
Yes.
And so, yeah, there's 30, 40 members here who can now vote
Mhm.
for the topics they want.
Mhm.
And then the top 6 topics will become the topics of the month for the next 6 months, right? So when you ask me what the vision is, it's this collaborative
Yes.
environment where it's less like the guru comes in and tells you what you have to learn or need to learn.
Yes.
And instead it takes the community and what they want to see in context to what's happening in their business, and then bringing people in to speak into the exact topic, right?
Yes.
So that's the vision, right? It's
That's
really like
awesome. It
yeah, a
sounds
network
like it's
and
a we system, not an I, which I love. And a lot of people can't they don't allow their ego to let just be diminished a bit as someone that's hosting a community. They want to be at the forefront. I love that you don't want to, like, you're allowing your community and you want your community to collaborate and be a part of it and really kind of create it, co-create it with you, if you will. My last question. Okay. So I'm an introvert. I don't know about you, Audrey. But I don't always wanna talk as much as I would like to, or as much as I probably should, and obviously I have a podcast, so it's confusing, but for someone that is joining a networking or an agency, space like yours or another networking space, what
Yeah.
would you recommend they do to just be a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah. I am also an introvert. I
Yes,
think,
introverts
yeah,
unite.
yeah, I know, and it's funny because I think when people meet me, they don't think I'm an introvert
Right,
just because, yeah, I'm not shy to speak my mind when asked
right.
the question, but at the end of the day, what defines me as an introvert is, I do love my little chair in the living room with the
Me
comfy
too.
pillow, right? And the blanket and the book, right? So, that's my happy place,
Me
right?
too.
And I think from the perspective of an introvert, I think it's important to understand how much introverting and how much extroverting you can and want to do. And you
Yes.
have to honor that. Like one of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years is, when you go to like a networking event and like they have this agenda and the agenda may be like, from 9 o'clock to like 3 o'clock and all these things are packed into it,
Too
right?
much.
And one of the things too much. And one of the things I learned is sure, for the extrovert, it ain't too much. They
Mhm.
can they can jump into all the
Mhm.
meetings, go to all the things, and man, they're still on it at 3 o'clock, right? Whereas
Mhm.
at 3 o'clock, I'm literally want to crawl into bed, right? And so
Literally.
I think the first thing I gotta say is honor your own rhythm, right?
Mhm.
And don't judge your rhythm against someone
Mhm.
else's rhythm. Like, for
Mhm.
example, when I went to this event, like after 2 hours of like intense networking, I literally pieced out. I was like,
Listen, you
I
sound
need to
like
go back
me.
I need to go back to my room. So I went back to my room and literally, like, I pulled up my phone and I watched K-drama for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
I'm not mad. You gotta do what you
yeah,
gotta do, and as you said, I'm the strong believer too, honor your rhythm. Like, know yourself, accept it, and do what you have to do.
yeah, to find the
Yeah, to
energy that you
replenish.
need.
Yes.
Yeah, to replenish. And for me, like I just shared, my secret habit, not so secret habit is K-drama. I love tapping into and watching an hour of K-drama. It just replenishes me. I don't know why. It just does. Anyhow, so
I love that.
Anyhow, so that's one thing. It really is like if you're actually going to a actual event, it's like don't worry if that agenda is like 5 hours long. If
Mhm.
you need to take an hour or 2 hour away from it, do it. You're not missing anything. In fact, when you come back stronger. You come back
Yes.
more able to connect and showing up as yourself, right? Which is really
And I
important.
think I think
And
too, to add to that, sorry, just thinking about, if you feel as your full self, you're going to be able to present as your full self. And you're gonna be able to meet the appropriate people that are energetically on your level versus you feeling depleted and being like, oh, I have 3 more sessions to go to. And by the time you meet people, you're not even engaged because you're already on the struggle bus.
yeah. And I think it's important to share kind of what that struggle bus looks like.
Yes.
So for me, what it looks
What
like
the
is this.
struggle bus looks
Once
like, yes.
yeah, once I'm overwhelmed in a situation with a lot of people and like I I'm basically done, I
Mhm,
can recognize that right away because what happens for me is I will be talking to someone, but for some reason I cannot focus. Like
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
talking to this
mhm.
person,
You're not
but
receiving.
I'm not receiving what they're
Mhm,
saying, but there's a lot of buzzing in the background that's
mhm,
starting to
mhm, mhm.
irritate me, and all I can hear is that noise. And I used to judge myself for that quite a bit and say, focus, Audrey,
Right.
focus, right?
Come back.
But yeah, and I realize now that that's just a sign that I need to
Mhm.
go and get myself back in
Regroup,
order, so to
yeah.
speak. Yeah. And on the other side of that, I also know that when that's happening and someone is talking to me, they're gonna know it's happening.
Yes.
The person
They can
they're
see
gonna
it.
know, right?
They can see,
They can
feel
see it.
it, all of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to say to someone, "Hey, look, like, I am actually," and I've done this, "I'm actually an introvert, and my
Mhm.
introverting is coming out right now, so I'm done extroverting." So, I've said that before,
And they're
I've done
and
it,
they're
I've
probably like, "Girl, me too."
and I'm like, "You know what, I'm just gonna, like, take a moment here," right? No one's ever said, "Oh, what the,"
Like,
no
"What's
one's
wrong
ever
with
said
you?"
that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's ever said that to me, right? And, if someone were to say that to you, they ain't your people.
No, they're not. Like, "Goodbye, thank you for showing me who you are." I love it. All right. So I feel like we could talk for like 45 more years, but I don't I don't want to take up too much of your time. I am so grateful for you to come on the show. Please tell folks how they can find you and how they can work with you.
Yes. So, Agency Together is the network that we have. And you can learn more about the network at www.agencytogether.com. We have a free strategic mixture event that happens every quarter. The
Nice.
next one is happening in April. It's a strategic partnership mixture for agency owners. So, I invite you to come over to the website www.agencytogether.com, and when you get there, you'll see a link called Mixer. Click on that and RSVP to that. And I hope to see you
Yes.
there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Audrey. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully I'll
Yeah,
see you soon.
you will.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode of the Real Connect podcast.